Hey, what is up guys? James or MrFuryTheGreat back with another patch notes for patch 6.2. This rundown is going to consist of some champion and balance changes that are probably going to make this patch shape out the meta for a few more patches, so I'm really excited to cover this. So let's just get right into it. Of course, as every patch is, they're always going to have a rundown of what this patch is going to be. They're just saying that it's just follow-up patches from patch 6.1 to kind of iron out the things that went wrong. So, Jhin and Shin. Jhin is being released. He's a new champion to the game. If you haven't seen him already, you can check out a champion reveal. I'll make a video of Jhin and the Shin rework in the future. I'm going to show like what they would be strong in competitive play, solo queue, and why they're good pickups or why they're not good pickups. I'll do a rundown of both the champions in a coming video, so an annotation will be like right here or like over there, some annotation on the screen, so you can watch those videos when they come out. So now let's get into the stuff that's really going to change the game at the start of this patch. Dr. Mundo. If you've played solo queue, draft pick, or you've played a blind pick, you have seen Dr. Mundo in one of your 10 games you've played. He's either banned, picked, 100% of the time. Like, Mundo never gets through the full draft without being picked. Even if someone's never played Mundo, they will pick him because of how good he is. So they're lowering his early power, which it's insane whenever you play like Renekton, Aurelia, Riven, when Mundo is out damaging you early. So they're completely negating that by giving his early game damage a tone down. But he's still going to be good late game, and they're also making where his ult, level 6, he won't be able just to ult and then have the cooldown back at 75 seconds. It's now going to be 100 seconds, so that's really good. I like that change a lot. Mundo's not going to be that powerhouse in the early game, but he'll still be good in the late game, so he's still that late game tank that can run into the back. He's going to be just as strong as he was before, just you have to itemize better on him and play the lane a lot safer than you already were. Elcye. With the Runic Echoes item coming out, with the changes all going through Elcye in the patches beforehand, Elcye is a monster. They lowered her movement speed, which movement speed you wouldn't think is a huge change, but if you've ever played a champion and their movement speed's been changed, you can tell there's something up with them. Buffing and lowering movement speed changes a lot about a champion. If they're fast or quick, if you need to get certain types of boots in certain situations, it's a good change. So they're just going to make it weaker, so you probably have to get boosted swiftness if you want to roam a lot in the jungle. Or you're going to have to run that thing where you get 15 movement speed in bushes and stuff. So it's not a terrible thing, but it just makes it where you have to run a mastery and compensate for it if you want. So Elcye is getting toned down with her movement speed, and then her W damage, of course, because if you're against Elcye and they have the jungle item finished and you have one item, you have no defensive items, she will one-shot you because she's just strong. I played her today and did this same thing. So Elcye is getting a lot more popular with this item, so they're just going to tone her down so she's not that one-shot jungler. Fiora got changed where her passive is now not random. The passive is more manageable in lane. If you ever played against Fiora or played Fiora, every time you go into lane, the vital will just be randomly on you. So you just back out of lane, out of her vision, then go back into the lane over and over until you find a vital that's suitable for you to lane and farm against. So they're making it where it's always going to be top right and bottom left sides, so we'll always be facing away from her, I think, which is the right change. So, sorry about that, dog's barking. So anyway, Gangplank, his R cooldown is up across the board. If you've played against Gangplank, he's like the best top laner, and he's a really good mid laner. So they're just making where his ultimate is a 20-second longer cooldown on all ranks. Gangplank ultimate does a lot of damage. Gangplank ultimate can shred a team and set a team fight so decisively, so this is the best way to do it. Increase the cooldown by 20 seconds, so you can't just throw it down in the beginning of a fight and then use it at the end of the fight. It's because you usually get 40% CDR with Gangplank, so that negates a lot. Karma's really strong. Karma's seen a lot of play. I'm trying to think of when she first got reworked, she was seen play mid and support, but she's seen a lot of play off and on. People like Elimination would play her. I have some friends that still play Karma. She's really strong. So they're making her W costless mana, so she'll be a good support, like a supporty mid laner. I'm expecting she'll have a lot more mid because her Ws can be used more in lane, and with the Morella Namakaran Athene's and Holy Grail buffs and the Frostwing Clang nerfs, I feel like she'll be really good because her catch potential is already insane. Kha'Zix. This is fun for everyone that plays Kha'Zix. So let's say you're playing Kha'Zix and you're right here. You're in my right hand and you're jumping to my left hand. You would jump you could Q in midair whenever you wanted, and then you'd land. And then you have to use your W and your ult. Now, whenever you're in midair, you can Q or do whatever you do, like in this area. And then before you land, like right in this time, you can W, which before you land, so you can get that auto off, because the unseen threat now is a lot faster. Basically makes where Kha'Zix can do a burst of damage again. They negated a lot about him just because of how strong he was. So this change, I feel like he'll be viable. I could be wrong. Rengar could still be more impressive over him, and he might just get overshadowed. But this is a change in the right direction. Just the buffered change for his ultimate and his W is huge, where you can shoot it right before you land, so you can land invisible and stuff. So if you jump and it's really bad, oh no, let me ult and get out. You can get out really fast. And oh, I jump into their team. Use your W to slow them all. It's really good. Kindred. If you've ever played against Kindred in solo queue, she will fight you early and she will kill you. So they're making her Q cost more mana and her E do less damage, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. Just to tone her down in the early game. It's insane when Kindred's doing more damage than like Nidalee. So that's a good tone down. Kindred won't be as oppressive in the early game. Nunu. They made his E more spammable in late game team fights, and it's a lower cooldown and lower mana cost, but they made the slow duration slower. Nunu's insane. I think Nunu's always been a good jungler, but he has to find the right niche. With the Tracker's Knife being in there for warding, Cinderhulk being decent, and the slow, I think Nunu will be really good. The thing is that, like, I'm trying to recall, Nunu is always, like, protect the ADC comps, you just pick Nunu. If you don't have another jungler to play, just play Nunu. So that's what they're doing here. Made the mana cost lower so he can use it more, and they made the cooldown for his E lower, so it's not 6 all ranks. So 45% CDR Nunu is like perma slow. It's insane, but it's manageable, I guess, because you're gonna have to run 45% CDR and like lose a lot of survivability that you would if you ran into the defensive tree. The slow strength also is buffed early, so I think he's gonna be a really good early game jungler. I could be wrong. He might just be completely negated. This change might not be enough to put him back, but I'm expecting more Nunu. Poppy, bug fixes really. If you ever threw your passive at a dying champion minion, it would just bounce back if it didn't kill them. So it's not going to bounce off dead bodies anymore. It will only bounce off of zombie passives, like Kog'Maw, Karthus, Scion, people that die and get revived. So that's just a bug, so you won't like throw it and then just get the shield instantly without even killing them. So when the shield is on the ground, it will start its outro animation earlier. So basically this is in lane. You can, if you're really ahead with Poppy, you can throw your passive and it will land close to them, and you can use it as bait so you can eat them against the wall and stun them. That's just a way to help with that. And then the Hammer Shock. Last patch note 6.1 I covered how this is a really good thing for a combo, but I've been playing Poppy and this is not, it doesn't work. It's bugged. They're fixing it so you can E and Q at the same time, which I like. It will and I like how this is automatically aimed toward your target if your mouse cursor has not moved significantly after casting Heroic Charge. So you can EQ and then you'll always Q them after your stun hits or after you hit them in a direction. Rengar, this is the nerfs that everyone's proud about. All ADC mains can rejoice. Rengar is not as strong as he was, but tank Rengar is still going to be good, and I'm going to explain why. They're making where his Q doesn't do 50% of total deck damage, it's only 30%. And they're making the attack damage buff longer though, so he's going to be better in sustained fights. But squishy one-shot Rengar is not made for sustained fights. He is made to jump into your team, one-shot your carry, and hopefully book it out of there before anyone can CC him. But with tank Rengar, with Cinderhulk, Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, that's a really good way to get more damage and more time. So max Q still on Rengar. Q's not obsolete, but I think tank Rengar will be more viable. They made when Rengar jumps from stealth or to a bush, he now lands very slightly short of the target, so you won't jump directly on top, you will jump a little bit in front of them. So you can maybe jump and get the ball off and not go right over their head, which is the main reason why they did it. But they added a cast time for the bola, so you can't jump at someone and then bola them and then instantly, like right when you land on them, they're insta-stunned and they can't do anything about it and you can burst them. So that's a good change, and then you'll still see the exclamation point 200 units before Rengar appears. So more manageable when he's coming towards you, so you can maybe get out sooner if you notice it fast enough. Tahm Kench changes, I love this. Top Tahm Kench is like taking over in solo queue and competitive play. His passive doesn't last longer. If you ever laned against Tahm Kench or played him against him at all, he'll like get 3 stacks on you, and you can get out, and you're like, yes, I burned flash, I burned heal, but I got out away from Tahm. And then he'll keep chasing you, and he'll Q you, and all of a sudden you have 3 stacks again, and he eats you again and carries you into his team, and you're dead. So this is a good way to negate it. 5 seconds, 2-second window is huge. I like it a lot. The tongue lash, I like this change. There's a lot of complaining about the indicator. You would Q out, the indicator would show, and then they dodge it, but then the indicator disappeared, they dodge back, and then it would still hit them because the indicator was bugging out. So they're just making for clarity. It now lasts longer, so you know whenever that disappears, you can actually dodge away from it. It just makes it easier for the tongue lash to so you can always know that it won't hit you if you're out of it. And then Devour bug, where if Morgana Black Shields or Fiora were posted when you have 3 stacks on them, you would just get full mana back if you W'd, but now they're putting it on cooldown, so you can't like W them. Oh, they blocked it. Wow, so good. W them again. Like, that's a really good change. I like it a lot. And then they made Abyssal Voyage the passive, where you do damage based on your health. They just made it weaker late game and weaker early game. It's just weaker all around, which I like, because it's dumb how a Tahm Kench is doing more damage than my 80 carry in fights just because of that. So I like that a lot. Frost Queen's Claim, they finally nerfed it. They finally made it where mid laners will not get it, and it will be just a support only item for catch supports. So they made it 90 seconds, and they made it where the ghosts won't super chase after you if they're coming at you, so you can't run away from them. So Frost Queen's Claim will be better, and it will just be made for getting vision in fights and getting catches in the jungle, which I like a lot. Morellonomicon and Athenes, to compensate, their costs are now down. So Morellonomicon and Athenes will see a big like rejuvenation in play, because Frost Queen's Claim was just the go-to now. So Morellonomicon and Athenes will see more play. So Morellonomicon being back in the meta, Mundo will be weaker just by default because of Morellonomicon, and Soraka will be as well, just because Soraka, I guess not, because it's only self-healing now. We'll see. Mundo will be weaker though, because every mid laner that's AP will probably have Morellonomicon, and if you're against like LeBlanc, Ahri, you'll get Athenes. Just good to see these back in the meta. They're really good AP items, and I think that they'll always be strong. You know, I like them a lot. They tried to make Dark Seal viable, but I still think it's what you want to get if you're smurfing, right? You only buy this if you know you're going to stomp your lane, and you never know at any elo if someone's the same skill cap as you, better, or worse. So I think Dark Seal is still a really greedy item, but you can get it if you first blooded your lane. They made it 350 gold, so it's more favorable early game, so you can buy that and then get 3 pots, which I'm okay with. But I don't think it will seal any play at all. I think Dark Seal still not good. Steel not good enough. Dark Seal steel. I think Dark Seal still isn't good enough, and they're just gonna stick with being a Doran's Ring start or Doran's Blade or Longsword, whatever mid laner you do. It's still gonna be Doran's Ring or like Pots and Boots. This is not gonna change. Cole, they tried to buff it. I think Cole's still terrible. It will be like a top lane farm item. The 2 attack damage buff I think is pretty awful, and then the final payout got buffed. So who knows? It's still I guess an early game item, but I don't think it will see much play. We'll see. It might all of a sudden be really good, like, wow, I can farm as ADC and get more gold. Wow. Who knows? It's an extra pot at the end of the day, so it might be good. So they did a bug fix with Rapid Fire Cannon, where the indicator that goes around the red circle now will be what you will attack at all the time, and not like walk. So you can like, you would have a ranged champion, you'd walk into that range or whatever, and then it would hit them at the edge. You would walk in a little bit, just so that's way more like, it's more visual, so you always know that you'll hit them or you won't. So wall collision detection. So before this change, when someone flashes over wall, places a ward, it would like bug out and do like a spiral. So what they're doing is they're making it where you will just find the best spots. So fail flashes won't happen as often, fail wards won't happen as often, just making it where wall collision isn't as buggy. So if you're at that big mountain in top lane that everyone tries to flash over, the Dire or whatever, like, oh, Dire's the big flash, and then everyone fails it after him, you can now, if you get her kind of close and you flash, you might get it more often. Who knows? I don't know how big a change it will make, but we'll have to see whenever this patch goes live. Assassin. More assassins, less super good for junglers. I like that. Junglers could take Assassin instead of Runic Affinity and do more damage to junglers. Rengar, per se, would always run Assassin. So they're making it 2% damage, but it doesn't affect monsters anymore. So it's going to be good for mid laners and top laners still, I think. And then ADCs maybe. It's up to you if you like Assassin over the Biscuits. Biscuits I think are better for laning. Assassin's better if you're like a really good ADC. Thunderlords, they made it better early game, made it worse early game, better late game. Sorry. And then I think it's just putting it more in balance. It's better late game, which I'm fine with, but it's worse early game, which I'm fine with. I think this is a good change. I think more people will pick other stuff based on their playstyle, and this won't put this the only one in favor. Like, you have to get Thunderlords or we're going to lose. So it's not going to be 10 Thunderlords anymore. You might see like 4. Hopefully this will change up where people start running more based on their playstyle and how they like the game. Wind speakers, just tooltip correction, nothing huge. So you can read that if you want. I'm not going to cover it. So ward debris got buffed. So if you know what ward debris is, those little red and blue dots all around the map whenever you're walking around. They just made it where they're brighter, and they will like, so here's what it says exactly. I'm going to read it exactly because I don't want to butcher this. So the debris duration is 240 seconds from 300 seconds. So 60 seconds shorter, the debris will last. But now they have more visuals. Hype. They brightly glow in the first 10% of its lifespan, which is okay. If they glow up, that's good. Like, you can see them more, you'll know, wow, that ward was placed recently, so I'll reward now. Or if they stop emitting flames, you're like, okay, it's been there for a little bit, I might reward, I might not. And then if it's visibly changing and it starts shrinking, you're like, okay, that's been there for a while, no one's been around here, we haven't got any vision of the area, so don't worry about it. Sweeping lens, whenever you sweeping lens an area and you see like those red like outlines of champions, it's just making it better, so like you won't walk by a bush and then see like one champion but there's like 5 champions in the bush. It's just more for clarity. Clarity, of course, League of Legends. So there won't be any bugs. So as I said, find hidden cho'gass easier, so like you won't get ambushed in a bush when you think there's only one person in there. Farsight, they made it where it's now smaller, so you know, wow, that's a Farsight ward and not a normal green ward, so I can't ward jump to it if I'm playing Lee Sin. And that they share similar behavior with other warding activities, so you now can click on them, because whenever you try to click on them, you wouldn't. So maybe you can Lee Sin jump to them. They now turn green when over brush in red and wind terrain. Oh, that's what it is. So like, it will tell you if it's warding in a brush. So you can't ward jump to them, but you can, like, if you use other wards, like, you can do like around the tip of a bush, and it'll be green if it's in a bush and red if it's on terrain. So now you'll know for sure, which is good. Actually, that's actually a good change. I like that. So trinkables are castable during channels for Xerath and Jhin. Really, they're huge ultimates that lose vision. You can now drop your Farsight alteration, get vision of that area, so you can get more damage off and hopefully get the last hit for an epic play. Just some clean numbers for Twisted Treeline stuff. They reduced 10 seconds because the game starts 10 seconds sooner, just so they spawn sooner, so I guess just for clarity of the game. But who plays Howling Abyss and Twisted Treeline still? Sorry to all you people that play that. So new champ select, they made it where chromas you can now select, which is fine. Ward skins can now be selected. And then I like this matchmaking improvements. It's improved at all skill levels, so if I'm Plat 1 and I duo with my Gold 5 friends, the game will be balanced out, so I won't be against like a majority of Gold 4s. I'll be against like Plats as well, which is good if you want to play with friends. Queue times, they reduced the top end of the MMR spectrum. If you watch Halo streams, it's still like 15 minutes for queue time, so hopefully that'll be better. And then 5-man pre-bays are now matched up against other 5-man pre-bays 98% of the time. Thank God I won't have to solo queue against 5-man. I've done it once. I came over from school and I was like, I'll play ranked. Wasn't a good experience. We got stomped. So Lunar Reveal 2016, it's the event. There's 3 skins coming out. Buy them if you want. They're nice skins. I think they look good. And bug fixes. So the bug fixes here, you can read them. I'll leave it up here for a few seconds while I close out the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is James, MrFuryTheGreat. My channel, Twitter, my Twitch will be in the description. Let me know what you guys thought of the video. I'll release the Jhin and Shin champion rework soon, very soon. Hopefully I'll get that up at the end of the week or by the end of this weekend. So yeah, and then upcoming skins, of course, you can check this out if you want. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a safe and happy afternoon or morning or whatever type of day it is. Have a great time and peace.